Hi guys, and welcome to another tutorial. Today we're going to be looking at cooking Spiderghetti Bolognese, which is a bit of a twist on spaghetti bolognese. A little bit of fun, a little bit easy, and hopefully all the Beavers, Cubs and Scouts will be able to cook this. The ingredients you'll need to cook your Spiderghetti Bolognese are, starting from the left, we've got jumbo Frankfurters. You'll need at least one giant Frankfurter per person, 75 grams of spaghetti per person, a tin of chopped tomatoes at the back there, a small carton of passata, which is pureed whole tomatoes, 2 cloves of garlic or 2 teaspoons of garlic granules. I'm using garlic granules for ease and speed today. A mug of frozen diced onions. You can use fresh ones if you want, but again, for speed and ease, I'm going with the frozen ones. A portion of frozen or fresh veg, something like mushrooms, courgettes, peppers, etc. So they're sitting at the back at the moment. A little bit of olive oil or veg oil to help fry off the onions in. A teaspoon of mixed herbs, a tablespoon of tomato puree, and a tablespoon of tomato ketchup or a teaspoon of sugar, just to take the acidity off the tomatoes. The cooking utensils that we're going to need for this, we're going to need a chopping board and a knife to prepare any of the fresh veg that we need, and also to cut our frankfurters. Got a large pan there which is half full of water. It does need to be a good large pan. It helps the spaghetti cook a lot easier if it's in a larger pan. And we have a deep-sided frying pan, enough to hold all of the sauce in afterwards. So we don't want our sauce to be too thick and too chunky for this. So I'm dicing up all of my vegetables fairly small, so they cook at the same sort of speed at time. So that's all of my fresh veg prepared. If you wanted to use courgettes or anything else, then you could do. Frozen veg is just as good, but as I said, nice and small, chopped up, ready to go into the sauce. So now we move on to our frankfurters. These are going to be the body of our spiders, and it's important you get the large frankfurter style ones. The hot dogs in the tins and jars, they're just too soft. When you try and cook them at the same time that you're going to be cooking the spaghetti, they will just fall apart. So at least one sausage per person, and we're going to cut those into about 5 equal pieces. So there's 5 equal pieces, so that's given us 20 sausages or bodies there. So our spaghetti, as the recipe says, it's 75 grams of spaghetti per person that you're cooking for. So while I'm preparing these, I'm just going to get my water starting to boil, so that when these are ready, they can go straight into the pot of water. So this is the spaghetti that I've got. So there's 75 grams, there's 3 of us. So I've got 3 lots here. What I need to do, because these are too long, these won't work. If you get hold of the spaghetti nice and firmly either side like that, and I'm just going to break it in half. Now what I'm going to do, to make the spider's legs, I'm going to skewer my frankfurters with my spaghetti. This will make the legs, so spiders have 8 legs, so we need 4 pieces of spaghetti per spider. So there we go, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there we have 1 spider. I will carry on and do the rest, and then we'll move on to the next part of the tutorial. All of the frankfurters have now been pierced with the spaghetti. The rest of the spaghetti is on the side. That pan that I put on earlier, that's now boiling. So this is what I mean by a rolling boil. So you can see that the bubbles are coming up and the water is rolling over. So we're going to put the spaghetti and the sausages into the pan and then start on the sauce. The spaghetti's gone into the large pan, Just bringing it back up to the boil now. Put a little dash of oil into the deep frying pan, and we're going to start with the sauce. The pasta's come to the boil. You can see it's a rolling boil. We need to turn the heat down, so we're about halfway. We want a nice gentle boil, so between simmering and rolling boil, and we're going to cook this pasta for 18 minutes as per the instructions on the packet. So I've moved the pasta onto the back hob so that I've got more space to cook on the front one. We've got the oil warming up nicely, and we're going to put in the frozen onions first. What we're going to do is we're going to sweat those down for about 5 minutes. We're not trying to get them crispy or brown, we're just trying to get them so they're translucent and soft. And we're going to keep moving these whilst we're cooking. I'm also going to add the garlic. Now if you've crushed the garlic, you can add that in with the onions. I'm putting 2 teaspoons of garlic granules in with this one. I'm going to keep that moving, as I said. I'm going to cook that for about 5 minutes. Those have been cooking for about 5 minutes now, so it's time to add the rest of the veg. I'm using red, yellow and orange peppers and some mushrooms, but as I said earlier, you could add courgettes or any other veg you wanted, fresh tomatoes as well. Remember to keep the chunks nice and small, it will cook nice and evenly. Keep it stirring. This is going to be doing for another 5 minutes until all of the veg are nice and soft. You can see the Spiderghetti in the back is back up to a medium boil. I had to put the lid on because that back hob isn't very effective. Now into our sauce goes the chopped tomatoes. That's 1 tin, a 400 gram tin of chopped tomatoes. In goes the passata. This one's got mixed herbs already added to it, but I like mine a bit herby, so I'm putting a teaspoon of mixed herbs in there. Into that also goes the tomato puree, so there's a tablespoon of tomato puree going in there. And just to counteract the acidity, you can either add a teaspoon of sugar, or in this case, to keep the tomato flavour, I'm using tomato ketchup. Now we're going to turn the heat right down on this pan, because we don't want to boil this, we want it to be simmering nicely. Stir all those ingredients in, and this is just going to glug away while we wait for the pasta to finish cooking. It's been 18 minutes that the pasta's been on for. It's now cooked. You will have to check the times on the pasta that you use to see how long it takes to cook. You might need to get an adult to help you with this. I'm using some oven gloves because this pan is hot. And we're just going to drain all of our pasta. And then put that back into the pan to catch any remaining drips. Then we bring it over here to serve it up. So share out the pasta nice and fairly, even sized portions for everybody. I'm going to use a ladle now to take my sauce and put 1 ladle on each. You will definitely have enough sauce left over that you can put some in the freezer for another meal. And now we can dish out the spiders nice and fairly so that everybody gets an even number. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, 3 plates of Spiderghetti Bolognese. Let me just show you one of my spiders. There you go, that's what they look like once they've been cooked. So have a try yourself, and good luck.